Hello, welcome once again on this 21st Sunday after Pentecost. All you need is love is the theme of today's gospel. We hear a lot about love. We know what it is to be in love, where our every waking thought is about the one we love, perhaps even our dreams. Television, movies, magazines, novels, they all focus on love, or at least a certain kind of love. How often do you follow a TV show where couples promise undying love until death do us part for their soulmate, and yet just a couple of weeks later they're madly in love with someone else? Popular music and songs about love ring in our ears. All you need is love. But is this the kind of love Jesus is speaking about when he sums up the law by saying we are to love God with all our heart and soul and mind, and to love our neighbour as ourselves? If ever we could say God has a plan for our lives, then this is it: to love. Here we see the way to please God: love. Here lies the way to world peace. The law of love is simple, yet unbelievably complex, and most of the time completely beyond our capacity to actually put it into practice. I conduct a lot of weddings, and many couples like to choose that famous reading on love from St. Paul's first letter to the Corinthians that tells us that love is patient and kind, it's enduring and it's hopeful. It never doubts and it never gives up. But this is a ferocious, committed love, and it sets the bar really high, much, much higher than pop song romance. It's a little bit be careful what you wish for, because it reminds us how tough this God love really is, and just what standard we're actually called to. Love that always hopes for the best in the other person and always believes in them. It's not airy-fairy or pie in the sky. It's actually about tough, practical decisions and choices. So how then do we love God? In John's first epistle he writes, "If anybody boasts I love God," and goes right on hating his brother or his sister, thinking nothing of it, then he's just a liar. If he won't love the person he can see, how can he love the God he can't see? The command we have from Christ is blunt. Loving God includes loving people. You've got to love both. Much easier said than done, of course. We remember from parables like the Good Samaritan that our neighbour isn't always the person we like or get on with. It's the difficult person, the one who makes us uncomfortable, the awkward relative, the difficult neighbour. We're to love even those difficult people as we love ourselves. Loving our neighbour as ourselves also means we can't just simply stand aside and see injustice in the world. We can't stand by while our neighbour is hungry or homeless or suffering without speaking up on their behalf or working or doing something within our capacity to ease their suffering. We can't just sit back and watch TV when our neighbour is an unwelcome refugee locked away out of sight. We have to speak out. That's the law of love. Love is a decision. It's an act of the will. Should you forgive? Should you pick up the phone and make that call? Should you write a letter? Should you make a visit? The answer is love. The decision to forgive or call or write or visit or whatever it is that will make this love concrete shouldn't depend on whether you've been hurt or could be hurt. The answer should depend on answering the question, what would love do? So if loving our neighbour is this really active thing, what does it mean then to love God, who we can't see, with our heart and soul and mind? If I love God with my mind, then I realise that I don't have to check my brain or my capacity for reason at the door. If I love God with my mind, then doubts are okay. Struggles for faith are okay. Questions are okay. My mind and reason aren't opposed to God. They're actually created by God. When I bring my doubts and my questions to God, then I'm loving God with my mind. If I love God with my heart, then I set before God all my passion for life, all my hopes and desires, all my longings. It's very easy to imagine that we have a religious or a faith life in one corner and the rest of life during the week is completely separate. When we love God with all our heart, then we realize that God is the God of everything. My leisure, my work, my money, my family, my passions and thoughts and ideas. I love God with my heart by consciously and prayerfully bringing these things together. If I love God with my soul, then I realize that there's a God-shaped vacuum in the heart of everyone which cannot be satisfied by any created thing, but only by God the Creator, made known through Jesus Christ. That's a quote from someone called Blaise Pascal. When I love God, or I turn to God with a deep mystical part of me that longs for the spiritual, rather than looking to meet that need in other places, then I love God with all my soul. To all those questions we ask ourselves in quiet moments or in the night, what is life about? How can my life have meaning? Or even, how can I be happy? Jesus' answer is love. This love is about a choice, a decision, an act of the will. And it belongs at the heart of your relationship with your partner, your children, your siblings, your friends, your colleagues, even at the heart of our relationship with neighbours who are suffering in the world who we don't know personally. Have the courage to not simply talk about love, but to put love into action. Love God. Love others. Everything else are details. The Lord be with you.